So, what if the butterflies you're feeling are actually red flags in disguise? If you've ever wondered whether he truly cares, or if you're just convenient, you're not alone. Today we're pulling back the curtain on 4 behaviors that men show when they're using a woman. And trust this, it's impossible to hide them. 1. He gives love like a light switch. Inconsistent affection. At first it feels magical. The texts are nonstop. The compliments roll in like waves. He wants to see you, hold you, talk about the future. It's all romance, all spark, all the time. Until it's not. Suddenly he disappears. Maybe for days, sometimes for weeks. And when he does come back, it's with the same charm, the same flirtation, as if nothing happened. No explanation, no accountability. Just smooth talk and a quick request for attention, comfort, or intimacy. And just like that, you're back in. Pulled in by the charm. And once again, as soon as he gets what he came for, he's gone. Sound familiar? This kind of emotional hot and cold isn't love. It's manipulation dressed up as romance. He's using affection as a transaction, offering just enough to keep you hooked, just enough to make you question yourself when he disappears. And what's even more confusing, those sweet moments feel so real, because in the moment, they are real for him, but only as long as they serve his needs. Ask this simple question. Does he only show up when he's lonely, bored, or needing validation? Because when affection becomes conditional, when love is a reward and withdrawal becomes punishment, that's not a relationship. That's a cycle of control. And here's a powerful way to break that cycle. The next time he makes plans, flip the script. Make the meetup about you. Talk about what's going on in your life. Ask for your needs to be met. And don't give him the intimacy he usually expects. Just observe his reaction. If he becomes annoyed, distant, or starts pulling away when the attention isn't squarely on him, there's your answer. A man who truly cares doesn't vanish when the spotlight shifts. He leans in, he listens, he supports, he stays. So here's the big question. Is he showing up for you, or is he just showing up when it's useful to him? You're in limbo. Real affection doesn't evaporate the moment it's inconvenient. It shows up, especially when things aren't perfect. 2. The maybe man. He keeps you in limbo. Maybe we'll do something this weekend. Maybe I'll introduce you to my friends. Maybe I'll be ready for something serious. Someday. Why? Because deep down, he doesn't want to include you in his long-term plans. He just doesn't want to lose the access he currently has. So, what happens? You wait. You hope. You make excuses for the mixed signals. You tell yourself, he just needs time. But how much time does it take for someone to know what they want? Here's a thought experiment. Ask him if he wants $1 million. How fast do you think that maybe turns into a yes? Exactly. When someone wants something, really wants it, they don't hesitate. They act. They commit. They make space. And if someone keeps you in the maybe zone for too long, that's a no in disguise. Real talk. Have you been holding out for someone who's been holding back? And the scary part? You start adjusting your whole world around those maybes. You keep your weekends open, just in case. You hold back from planning trips, accepting invitations, or meeting someone new, because what if this time he follows through? 3. He turns you into his therapist, but only when it's convenient. Let's be clear. Emotional vulnerability is a beautiful thing in a relationship, but emotional dumping? That's a whole different story. Here's how it starts. He calls late at night. He's stressed. He's venting. Work is a mess. His friends betrayed him. His ex is back in the picture. And suddenly you're in full-on support mode. You listen. You reassure. You guide. You fix. You become his emotional anchor. But here's the catch. When it's your turn to share, he's not listening. He's distracted. He forgets what you said last time, or worse, he changes the subject back to himself. This is what happens when someone turns you into their free therapist. You become the emotional sponge, absorbing pain, offering advice, being there every single time he spirals. But when you need a shoulder, there's no one there. And it's draining. Relationships should be partnerships, not projects. If the connection always revolves around his crises and his pain, that's not love. That's emotional convenience. So, the question becomes, are you in a relationship, or are you just the unpaid therapist? And if the answer stings a little, that's okay. Awareness is step one. Boundaries are step two. There's nothing wrong with supporting someone, but when support becomes sacrifice, when your own needs are buried under his breakdowns, it's time to reevaluate. He can call a coach, a counselor, a friend, but he shouldn't be draining the life out of someone who's supposed to be his equal. And what's even more unsettling, he might actually praise you for being his rock, for always being there, for understanding him like no one else does. But that praise comes with strings. It's not appreciation, it's dependency. The more you show up for him, the less he shows up for himself. And slowly, your needs start to feel like a burden. You stop bringing things up. You downplay your own stress. Because now, you're the strong one, and he's the one constantly in crisis. But love isn't supposed to assign roles like that. You're not meant to carry someone emotionally while walking on eggshells around your own pain. A healthy relationship makes space for both people to fall apart and rebuild together. If you feel like you're stuck in a never-ending loop of rescuing, it's time to ask, when was the last time he showed up for you? Because being needed isn't the same as being valued, and you deserve to be both. And let's talk about how sneaky this dynamic can be. It doesn't always feel toxic right away. At first, being the one he turns to might feel flattering. It feels like closeness, like connection, like trust. You tell yourself, at least he's opening up to someone. At least he's letting me in. But soon, his venting becomes the main event of every conversation. His feelings take center stage while yours stay behind the curtain. And if you ever do bring up your own pain, he tunes out. He minimizes it. Or he suddenly becomes too tired, too busy, too overwhelmed to deal with your emotions. That's not intimacy. That's emotional hoarding. He wants access to your empathy without offering any in return. And slowly, you become invisible. Your needs shrink in the presence of his chaos. You begin managing his emotions like it's your full-time job. But relationships aren't supposed to feel like emotional labor. You shouldn't need to earn love through endless support. And if the only time he truly engages is when he needs something, attention, reassurance, a safe space to break down, then the relationship is unbalanced. Caring for someone is beautiful, but when caring becomes caretaking and your own heart takes a backseat every time, that's not just exhausting, it's unsustainable. 4. He finds that one flaw and never lets it go. Ever been around someone who seems fixated on pointing out the one thing they don't like about you? Maybe it's your laugh, or the way you dress. Maybe it's your voice, or your ambition, or your playlist. Whatever it is, it becomes the theme of every interaction. Little jabs, subtle comments, rolling eyes, sighs, and over time, it starts to get under your skin. That's not feedback, that's control. When someone repeatedly points out a single flaw, especially one that's deeply personal, it's often not because they want to help. It's because they want to weaken you, make you self-conscious, lower your confidence just enough that you question your worth. Because when you're unsure of yourself, you're easier to manipulate. This tactic is subtle. It's not the loud kind of disrespect. It's quiet. It sneaks in under the radar. One comment here, one joke there. But the result is the same. You start to shrink. And that's the goal. A man who's using a woman will often disguise manipulation as helpfulness. He'll call it just being honest. But real honesty uplifts. It empowers. It doesn't chip away at your self-esteem like water on stone. And here's something to think about. If someone claims to care, why are they trying so hard to make you feel small? Genuine love notices your quirks and celebrates them. Real connection sees imperfections as part of the package. not problems to be corrected. When someone constantly targets that one insecurity, it's not just annoying, it's a tactic. And you owe it to yourself to walk away from anyone who makes you feel like not enough. Sometimes it even sounds like a joke. You're so sensitive. Can't you take a little teasing? But that's the trick. It's not teasing if it always leaves a bruise. Over time, you begin second-guessing your reactions. You wonder if you're overreacting. You try to toughen up, to laugh along. But deep down, something doesn't sit right. That's your inner voice waving the red flag. Because love shouldn't make you question your worth. It should reinforce it. And if someone constantly chips away at your confidence, even with a smile on their face, that smile becomes part of the disguise. No relationship should make you shrink yourself to stay in it. If it's real, you'll grow, not wither. Remember, criticism dressed as care is still criticism. And someone who truly values you won't try to fix you. They'll simply want to know you better, and it doesn't always start big. Sometimes it begins with the smallest remark. That shirt isn't flattering, or why do you talk like that? At first, you brush it off. Everyone has opinions, right? But then it happens again and again. Until suddenly you're questioning every outfit, every sentence, every part of yourself that once felt effortless. That's not growth, that's erosion. Because instead of helping you evolve, he's making you doubt your own identity. And in doing so, he keeps the power. The more you shrink, the more space he takes up. And what's worse, you start to believe him. You internalize the criticism. You begin molding yourself into a version you think he'll approve of. More quiet, more agreeable, less you. But approval that demands self-erasure isn't love, it's control. If someone truly values you, they won't try to carve away pieces of who you are. They'll want to understand those pieces. They'll want to know what makes you laugh, what excites you, what makes you you. Because that's what real connection is built on. Acceptance, not adjustment. So if someone only loves the edited version of you, that love isn't real. And the longer you try to fit their mold, the further you get from your truth. These behaviors aren't just red flags, they're patterns that tell a story. And the story is this: when a man is using a woman, it's never about her. It's about him, his needs, his convenience, his comfort. She becomes a tool, a means to an end, a placeholder until something better or easier comes along. But here's the thing. These signs are impossible to hide for long, because truth has a way of surfacing. Patterns don't lie. And if you've seen these behaviors, heard these excuses, felt that emptiness that follows their temporary affection, that's not confusion. That's your intuition. You're not crazy. You're not needy. You're not asking for too much. You're simply waking up to the truth. And that's where your power begins. And once that truth clicks, it's like a fog lifting. Everything you ignored suddenly becomes crystal clear. The mixed signals, the vanishing acts, the constant feeling of not being enough. You stop rereading texts, stop overanalyzing silences, stop blaming yourself for things that were never yours to carry. Because here's what nobody tells you. Self-doubt is one of the easiest ways to keep someone stuck. And that's exactly what users rely on. They count on you second-guessing your worth so they can continue taking without giving. But when you name the pattern, you break its hold. That's when the healing begins. That's when you start choosing peace over potential, clarity over chaos, and love that feels safe over love that leaves you spinning. You start realizing that being alone isn't the worst thing. Being used while feeling alone, that's far worse. And once your standards rise, the wrong ones will remove themselves. That's not a loss, it's protection. So don't second guess your gut. Don't shrink to keep someone comfortable. Don't wait around for consistency from someone who only gives you crumbs. You have the right to take your power back. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Because love should never feel like a guessing game, and your worth was never up for negotiation. If any of these behaviors hit home, it might be time to reevaluate what you're accepting and what you actually deserve. Drop a comment below if any of these signs sound familiar, or share your story. Your experience might just help someone else find clarity. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more real talk on love, self-worth, and powerful relationship shifts. Because true love doesn't leave you guessing. It makes you feel seen.